A baby bird hears mom before it can fly. Then its first 100 days begin. Avizondarsi ala Haiti. Deep inside a tiny egg, nothing looked alive. No wings were visible. No little eyes were open. But something was listening. Outside the egg, a mother bird quietly moved around her nest. Then she made a soft, gentle call. Chirp, chirp. And something incredible happened. Inside the egg, the tiny chick moved. It couldn't see its mother. It couldn't touch her. It couldn't even breathe the way it would after hatching. But somehow, it already knew her voice. And this was only the beginning of its first 100 days. Because what happened after that would change its life forever. Day 1, the first hello. The next morning, the egg began to shake. A tiny crack appeared, then another. The mother bird immediately became alert. She leaned closer. Chirp, chirp. The chick pushed again. Crack. A tiny beak appeared. One more push. And suddenly, pop, a wet, exhausted baby chick came into the world. It couldn't stand. It couldn't fly. It could barely keep its head up. But the first thing it heard was the same sound from inside the egg. Mom's voice. The chick opened its tiny beak and answered. Peep. It was their first conversation, and neither one needed words. Day 3. Why does MOM keep doing that? For the next few days, the chick mostly did 3 things. Eat, sleep, and follow mom's voice. Whenever the mother moved away, she called. Chirp, chirp. The chick's head immediately popped up. But then something funny happened. The mother returned with food. The chick opened its mouth so wide. It looked like it was trying to swallow the entire sky. One tiny chick, one giant mouth, and mom looked like she was thinking, seriously? You were hungry again? But every feeding had a purpose. The chick wasn't just getting bigger. Its muscles were developing, its bones were strengthening, and hidden beneath that soft baby fluff, its future wings were slowly getting ready. Hashtag, 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 1:30 to 2 o'clock, day 7, the first big adventure. 1 week had passed. The chick finally discovered something dangerous. The edge of the nest. It looked down, then looked at mom, then looked down again. One tiny step forward, and suddenly, whoops, the chick slipped. Its little wings flapped wildly. But mom didn't panic. She stayed close. The chick climbed back up and tried again. This time it jumped. Not a real flight. Not even close. It landed about 2 inches away. But to the chick, that was a victory. And here's the surprising part. Every failed jump was actually training its body for the day it would finally leave the nest. But the biggest challenge hadn't even started yet. Day 15, the world gets bigger. By day 15, everything had changed. The chick could see much better. It could walk. It could run. And it had discovered the most exciting thing in the world. Chasing mom. Mom walked left. The chick ran left. Mom turned right. The chick turned right. Mom suddenly stopped. The chick almost crashed into her. For the first time, the chick began exploring beyond the nest. Leaves looked enormous. Branches looked like highways. A tiny insect looked like a monster. And then, the chick heard a completely unfamiliar sound. A bird nearby. The baby froze. Mom immediately called. Chirp, chirp. The chick looked toward her. Safe. That one sound told the chick something important. I'm still here. Day 25, the first real flap. Then came the day the chick had been unknowingly preparing for. Day 25. It climbed onto a low branch. The wind moved through its feathers. The chick looked down. Its wings opened. Once, twice, 3 times, and then, flap. For a moment, all 4 tiny feet left the branch. The chick was flying. Well, sort of. It flew for less than a second before landing awkwardly in a pile of leaves. But instead of being scared, it looked around like a champion. If the chick could talk, it might have said, "Did you see that?" Mom had seen everything, and she didn't stop it, because mom knew something the chick didn't. The first flight isn't supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be the beginning. Day 40. Where did mom go? By day 40, the chick was stronger. Its feathers were fuller. Its wings were more powerful. And then one morning, mom disappeared. The chick waited. Nothing. It called. Peep, peep. Still nothing. The chick became nervous. Then suddenly, flap. Mom appeared from behind a branch. The chick rushed toward her. But this wasn't a game. Mom had been teaching the chick something. How to search. Because someday, the chick would have to find food, recognize safe places, and move through the world without Mom beside it. The lesson was simple. Sometimes Mom disappears. Not because she left forever, but because she wants you to learn how to find your way. Day 55. The funniest lesson. By day 55, the chick was becoming surprisingly confident. Almost too confident. It saw a small puddle. It stepped in. Splash. The chick jumped backward. It tried again. Splash. Then it started pecking at the water. Soon, it was chasing its own reflection. The chick tilted its head. The reflection tilted its head. The chick moved left. The reflection moved left. It jumped. The reflection jumped. For several seconds, the chick appeared to be having an argument with itself. Even Mom seemed to watch from nearby. But beneath the funny moment was another important lesson. The chick was learning to understand its environment. Every strange sound, every moving shadow, every new object, the world was becoming familiar. Day 70. The first time Mom doesn't answer. Then came a moment that changed everything. The chick called. Chirp. No answer. It called again. Nothing. For the first time, the young bird had to move forward without hearing Mom immediately respond. It looked around. A branch. Leaves. Sky. Nothing. Then, a familiar call came from far away. Chirp, chirp. The young bird lifted its head. It knew exactly where the sound came from. And suddenly it flew. Not because Mom carried it. Not because Mom pushed it. But because the chick had learned to trust its own wings. That tiny flight was more important than all the earlier ones. Because this time, it flew toward Mom on its own. Day 85. The world is no longer scary. By day 85, the baby bird wasn't really a baby anymore. It could fly across branches, find food, avoid danger, recognize familiar calls, and explore places it had never seen before. But something had changed between the bird and its mother. The chick didn't need to stay beside her every second. Sometimes it flew ahead. Sometimes Mom followed. Sometimes they disappeared in different directions and met again later. The little bird had learned something every young creature eventually learns. Growing up doesn't mean forgetting where you came from. It means becoming brave enough to explore where you're going. Day 100, the final test. Then came day 100. The young bird stood on a high branch. Below was the world it once found terrifying. The wind moved through its feathers. It looked back. Mom was there. For one final moment, they simply stared at each other. No dramatic sound. No words. Just one familiar call. Chirp. The young bird answered. Chirp. Then it opened its wings and jumped. This time, there was no falling. No awkward landing. No panique. Just flight. The same tiny creature that once couldn't even lift its head was now flying above the nest where its story began. The young bird disappeared into the morning sky. But before leaving completely, it turned back. One last look at Mom. And suddenly, those first 100 days made sense. The first sound it heard was Mom. The first food it received was from Mom. The first step it took was near Mom. The first fall, the first flight, the first adventure. Mom was there. But perhaps the most beautiful part wasn't that Mom taught the bird how to fly. She taught it something even more important, how to fly without being afraid. And somewhere inside that tiny bird, the first sound it ever heard would always remain. Chirp, chirp. Because sometimes, the first voice we hear becomes the voice that gives us courage to face the whole world.